Hey, what's going on, horror fans? Good going back again. Another video. Happy October. Thought it'd be fun to do favorite documentaries in horror. Halloween documentaries. I got a shit ton to go through, so let's get in with it. So first up, I have Halloween, The Happy Haunting of America. This is a really cool, really fun Halloween atmosphere. It's like two documentaries. Really enjoyed this one. Daniel Roebuck is really awesome personality when it comes to Halloween and horror. He actually played Grandpa in the new Munsters movie. But just a really great fun with some really cool people in here. Definitely Robert Englund, Angus Scrimm, Doug Bradley, Alice Cooper, Tom Savini, you name it. Tony Todd. It's always a must-watch around October for me. And up next we have the master Christopher Lee, A Legacy of Horror and Terror. This is just pretty much a huge interview about him and his career. But it's very informative, especially if you want to learn more about the man. I miss him very much. He is one of my favorite, definitely one of my favorite actors. This one's pretty cool. Smoke and Mirrors, a Tom Savini story. If you want to know more about this great man and his work, I highly recommend this documentary from Wild Eye. It definitely shows his trades of his secrets from all his great films. This is a cool slipcover, but that's the original art. That's pretty cool. I highly recommend this one if you want to know more about Tom Savini and his work. And we have Celluloid Bloodbath, More Previews from Hell. This is a sequel to Mad Ron's Previews from Hell. Really enjoyed this one. Awesome trailers on here for some really great films and not so great films. Really fun for Halloween viewing though. Something cool to put on in the background when you're having a party or something, you know. And his name was Jason. This was before Crystal Lake Memories. This is when the Friday the 13th remake was coming out, I believe. This is when this hit. But this one's really cool. It's hosted by Tom Savini. And a lot of stuff was imported over for Crystal Lake Memories later, but I don't know, I always liked this one. Pretty cool documentary on Jason. We have the first Mad Ron's Previews from Hell. This one's fucking awesome. I enjoy this one. Like I said, a lot of great more trailers on here. 60s and 70s. Ilsa, She Wolf of the SS. Yeah, so much fun. I like the backstory of this too. With all the zombies running around in the theater. Very cool. I love that cover too. We have Halloween 25 Years of Terror. This is a really great documentary on the whole Halloween series. Highly recommend this one. It's kind of hard to find for the longest time, but I found a pretty good deal for one. Narrated by PJ Souls. Definitely a must for Halloween viewing. And we have from History Channel, America's Most Haunted Places. I love watching documentaries like this. It's just so fun. Haunted Tombstone, Haunted Washington, D.C., Haunted Savannah, Haunted Hawaii, and Haunted Chicago. Haunted Chicago is fucking awesome. Recognize some of those. Love these types of documentaries to watch around October. This is actually my favorite documentary that I own, I believe. At least it's up there. And that's the history of metal and horror. That's pretty much my life, so got a documentary about all the things I love. It's fucking awesome. And we got some great personalities on here. Philip H. Anselmo, and one of my absolute favorites, George Corpse Grinder Fisher. Just an awesome collaboration of metal and horror. Never thought a documentary like this would ever get made, but I'm so glad it did. It's so worth it. And we have some more haunted shit. Haunted history from the History Channel. This one's really cool. Ghosts of Gettysburg, Salem Witch Trials. That one's really interesting. Murder Castles about H.H. Holmes. Lost Souls of Pinehurst. That one's creepy. Katrina Cannibal. That one's good. A Deadly Possession. The Torso Murders and the Manson Murders. Really good for Halloween, October viewing for sure. I'll probably be repeating myself quite a bit, but, you know, it's the truth. Fiora, Lucio Fulci Remembered, Volume 1. Just a lot of interviews with people who worked with the maestro over the years. Really interesting. You learn a lot. And Amityville Confidential. This is a documentary. It includes Amityville The Haunting by the History Channel. Amityville Horror or Hoax. That one's cool. That one's on the History Channel. And also the making of the remake of Amityville from 2005, which I didn't think was too bad. That was pretty cool. I've always been a huge fan of these books since I was a kid. This is a great documentary about them. Scary stories. The story of the books that frightened a generation. I definitely concur with that, because these books pretty much changed my life. I remember when I was just a little squirt, and we used to have book fairs at our elementary school, and these books were such a hot seller, and I remember I bought them all. I still have them. Still love to read them. Essential. Those really can get you in the Halloween spirit for sure, in a fun way. Another documentary called Monsters Among Us, The Origins of Horror's Greatest Legends. This one's cool. It's vampires from folklore and literature, vampires, the rise of Dracula, the undead, the spirit world, demons, witchcraft, werewolves, and shapeshifters. Always a fun watch. Yeah, this huge mamma jamma set here. The 100 Years of Horror, hosted by the master Christopher Lee. You can get all those goody shit on there. I love it. They're not very long little episodes, but simple, straight to the point, and you learn a lot. Especially if you want to learn more about the history of horror, for sure. This isn't really Halloween related, but it's still cool. It's called Adjust Your Tracking, Story of the VHS Collector. That's a great documentary. And Herschel Gordon Lewis, the godfather of gore. I'm so glad that he finally got a documentary. This guy deserves so much. But that is essential. This was kind of a fun one that came back out in the day, remember? Boogeyman, the Killer compilation. Kind of dated now, but still pretty fun to watch. Another good background on Halloween if you're having a party and you gotta throw something on, you know. In Search of Dracula, starring Christopher Lee. This is awesome. I need to upgrade this. This got a really good upgrade. This is the old oldies DVD. Kind of looks like shit, but I really should upgrade it to that really good one that came out. But this is a really awesome documentary on the search for Dracula. You can get parts of Christopher Lee actually playing Vlad the Impaler too, which is really awesome. And then we have Going to Pieces. This is the essential documentary on slasher films based on the book, which I actually still need to get. It's a bit pricey, but I plan on getting that book. But this is so much fun if you're a slasher fan. Awesome. And from National Geographic we had Is It Real? Vampires. This one's really fun. And you get a bonus Vampire Forensics. That one's really interesting, actually. Good vampire fun. Flesh and Blood, The Hammer Heritage of Horror, narrated by Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. Can't get any better than this. essential if you're at all a fan of Hammer films or you want to learn more about that great company. This is kind of a newer one that came out, a Shudder original. It's called Leap of Faith. William Friedkin, rest in peace, on The Exorcist. Really cool piece on the film, and Friedkin and his life's work. Rest in peace. Glad he got a documentary before he passed. Another VHS love, cult cinema obsession. This one focuses more on horror collectors though, so it definitely can get you in a Halloween spirit. I love watching shit like this. As a fellow collector myself, you know. All the colors of Giallo. Everything and anything you ever wanted to know about the Giallo Italian great horror films of the 70s, 60s, and 70s. Amazing. You gotta have some time to watch this baby, though. Very, very informative, though, from Severin Films. We got the History Channel, Hauntings. Awesome. Remember watching these when I was a kid. They just scared the shit out of me. Little modern one, The House in Between. This one was cool. A lot of these paranormal activity type documentaries really can get you in the Halloween spirit. We got Video Nasties, the Definitive Guide Part 2. Pretty much carrying on after the first one. Got some great shit on here. Yeah. From the History Channel, Frankenstein, The Real Story. This is a really cool one. And you also get In Search of the Real Frankenstein. That one's really interesting. Frankenstein, It's Alive, and the True Story of Frankenstein. So if you're a Frankenstein fan, this definitely is up your alley. Want to learn more about the book and the monster? Great. Haunted Connecticut. Most haunted state in America. Another paranormal documentary. I just been binge watching these. Eli Roth's History of Horror Season 3. Always a fun watch. From the History Channel, we have The Real Wolfman. I remember watching this one when it first aired years ago. And the whole Beast of Jevedon story, yeah, as always intrigued me. Still does. And we have the Sci-Fi Boys. Definitely Peter Jackson, Ray Harryhausen, Ray Bradbury, and Forrest J. Ackerman, among many others, who were influenced by sci-fi and horror films when they were little kids. Went on to do great things. Great documentary. Another VHS documentary. VHS Lives, a schlockumentary. I always like this one. Phil Anselmo is actually on this. I still gotta get the second one, but yeah, that one's fun. Here's a fun trailer compilation for Halloween. Horrible Horror with Zachary, the Cool Ghoul. Rest in peace. Yeah, this is a really fun one. I always enjoyed this one. A lot of classic monster and horror clips. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, A Family Portrait Revisited. Really cool seeing the cast young and hungry. Awesome. More haunted houses from A&E. This one obviously was used. Still fun. Here we got The Birth of the Living Dead. This was a really fun one. I'm glad that George Romero made this before he died. I have so many documentaries on Night of the Living Dead, but it never gets old. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's just it was such a pivotal piece of horror. Great documentary about the man and his work. This is always an essential one. Nightmares in Red, White, and Blue. Awesome. Hosted by Lance Hendrickson. I always love this one. This one is so much fun. So many great clips from classic horror films, old and new. This one's cool if you're a fan of like Universal Monsters. It's called The Witch's Dungeon. 40 Years of Chills. Witch's Dungeon is a horror, a Halloween wax museum put on by, what's the guy's name? Something Hall. It's actually Henry Hull of Werewolf of London's grandson, which is kind of cool. It's kind of carrying on the tradition. Creighton Hall? Is that his name? Carlton? It starts with a K, I think. Anyway, Witch's Dungeon is great. We got, this is a creepy one. Spook the Ghosts of Waverly Hills Sanitarium. Oh man, that place has always scared the shit out of me ever since I read up on it, and this documentary just, wow, reinstates those fears. Very, very creepy documentary. I'd love to go there. And we have A Haunting in Connecticut and Georgia. I enjoyed both of these. So both really cool. A Haunting in Connecticut, I think, is a little bit better. Still, they're great. This was a great one from Severin Films. Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched, A History of Folk Horror. Ever want to learn more about folk horror? This is definitely the documentary to find that out about. Excellent. Wish I would have gotten the Blu-ray though. Had more shit on it. This is a great from the Sleazebox documentary. It's called Blood, Guts, and Sunshine. The history of horror made in Florida. I actually got this at a horror convention. You cannot find this on Amazon, but you can go on the Sleazebox site and get it. Highly recommend it if you want to learn more about the history of Florida horror. This covers everything from the Creature to Black Lagoon to Naked Cannibal Campers. Yep. Amazing. It's amazing how many horror companies are from Florida. You don't realize it till you watch that. This was a really cool one. I enjoyed this one. Hollywood Dreams and Nightmares, the Robert Englund story. I love that slip. That's the other cover. I never realized how many different roles this great actor has done. I mean, he's mostly known for his horror roles and obviously Freddy, but he really is an amazing, versatile actor. And I would love to meet him. If I could meet anybody that's still living, horror legend, definitely would be Robert Englund or John Carpenter. He'd definitely be one I'd love to meet. He seems like a really cool, down-to-earth guy. I loved him in that movie, Eaten Alive. Name's Buck. Willing to fuck. Classic. We got Amicus, House of Horrors. Oh man, one of my favorite horror anthology companies ever. Right up there with Hammer. This is a great documentary. I mean, if you want to know more about Amicus Productions, you're really going to enjoy this. It might be boring to some people, but it's just so informative to horror fans such as myself, who love more of the older films. This one's cool too. It's Monster Bash Origins. Monster Bash is a convention dedicated to the more classic movie monsters, but you see a lot of great people on here. So much fun. It's got a whole thing of trailers too as a bonus, which is really awesome. Corman's World? Oh man, it's gonna be a sad day when Roger Corman dies. I hope it doesn't happen, but you know, the way we lose legends now, I guess it's bound to happen eventually. But I'm glad he is really getting the respect and admiration that he deserves. He's definitely a pioneer in his own field. Love Roger Corman, much respect. This is my favorite, Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. Wow. You gotta really have some time to watch this baby. Yeah, this is a long one, but it is worth every minute if you are at all a fan of this franchise. And of course, as you all know, Friday the 13th is my favorite franchise. But that is just essential viewing for sure. They interview pretty much everyone that wants to be involved, you know, in the series. Heroes of Horror, this one is amazing. God, I love this one. Boris Karloff, Lon Chaney, Bela Lugosi, Peter Lorre, Vincent Price. The Peter Lorre one was really cool. I didn't really know much about Peter Lorre, so it was really cool to find more about him. But this is such a great documentary. Oh man, one of my heroes right here. To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story. This guy has been through hell and back, literally. It talks about his early days when he was bullied as a kid, brutal bullying, to his horrible burn accident that changed his life forever, that continues to change his life, to his breakout in horror cinema and just being known to kill more people on camera than anybody. He's very proud of that. Kane's a great guy. I met him. Very awesome, down-to-earth guy. Definitely a prankster. We got National Geographic Classics Mysteries of the Paranormal. This one's fucking awesome. This has Is It Real Ghosts? Is It Real Hauntings? Is It Real Vampires? Which I showed before. Taboo Witchcraft and Taboo Evil Spirits. Essential viewing in October. October nights. Gotta love watching this shit. This is a pretty tragic one to watch, knowing what happened to this great guy. Oh man, Blood and Flesh, The Real Life and Ghastly Death of Al Adamson. He really accomplished a lot in his life and made amazing... Well, I don't know about amazing, but he made a lot of movies. I like Dracula vs. Frankenstein. I think that's a fun movie. And he's definitely a legend in his own right. And his death is just so tragic. Nobody deserves that. Rest in peace, Al. At least we have your films to remember you by. And this is a great documentary from Severin. And we have the first Eli Roth History of Horror. This is the first one in the series. Focus. There you go. Yeah, this is a great one. I love all the behind the scenes shit on here too. You get some really great interviews. Loved it. All those are great. Diary of a Deadbeat, The History of Jim Van Bever. Interesting documentary from Massacre Video on this guy he's pretty much a pioneer in his own right. And it's really cool seeing people like Killjoy of Necrophagia and Phil Anselmo talking about him and his work. The Manson Family is one of my favorite movies of all time. Deadbeat at Dawn as well. Speaking of Kane Hodder, Belzam, A Paranormal Investigation. I really enjoyed this one. In fact, when I met Kane, we talked for like half an hour about this project that he was involved in, this paranormal activity project. And he said he was generally frightened at times. And if you watch it, you'll see why. Fucking amazing. And I have Uncle Forey's Anchor Mansions. Uncle Forey, he was quite a character. The editor of Famous Monsters of Filmland. Gets his own amazing DVD. This is loaded. It shows so many of his pieces, his timeless pieces of horror collecting memorabilia over the years, and I was so glad to get this one. I just love Uncle Forey. This was so much fun. We have Monsters, Madness, and Mayhem. This was cool. It also comes with a bonus Halloween. Very cool. The Devil, Witches, Creatures, Superstitions, and Halloween. All that goodness. Yeah, Forrest J. Ackerman again. Wow. The Life and Death Project. Now, this is a documentary that'll really make you think about the beyond. Very, very powerful stuff. When your loved ones die, where do they go? You know, it asks many questions. Very, very informative, very heartbreaking at times. But Forrest J. Ackerman is on this, the sole purpose of it. Very, very cool. I always love nautical shit, so Ghosts at Sea, Paranormal Shipwrecks and Curses. I love that cover. Yeah, if you're into nautical ghost hauntings, this one I'd check out. That's cool. This was an awesome one. Eyes of the Mothman. Fuck yeah, this was an amazing one. I didn't really know a lot about the Mothman. I did see the Mothman Prophecies movie, which is actually right there. But yeah, this documentary really goes deep with the whole lore of it and the history. It's just pretty fucked up. And it's amazing how many people claim to have seen him and still do, so it's pretty crazy. Oh yeah, one of my favorites here. Haunters, The Art of Scare. This one was so much fun. I always have enjoyed this one. Haunted houses are my specialty. I love every year going to them and enjoying them for the Halloween atmosphere. But some of these, like Blackout and McCamley Manor, are fucking insane. Like, we've come a long way since just the little jump scares to like being chased by naked people and having tarantulas stuffed in our face. It's just pretty extreme. And I get what McCamley Manor is doing, and I respect him, but I think every haunted house should have a safe word. I really do. Kind of takes the fun out of it. But Haunters, The Art of Scare, man, this is really cool. Learn about the passionate men and women who dedicate themselves every year to scaring the shit out of everybody. Love it. I saw this one when I was a kid. And it always left an impression on me. It's called The Unexplained Witches, Werewolves, and Vampires, hosted by Peter Graves. This was a hard one to track down, but I'm glad I finally did. This is really cool reliving this. This came on Halloween one year, I remember. Awesome. Little dated, but still fun. You have Ghost Adventures, the original documentary. This launched the series. I'm a fan of Ghost Adventures. I think it's a fun show. Kind of scary in parts, if you believe that. This one was very, very well done. This definitely will give you the heebie-jeebies on an October night for sure. This one's cool. Oh, the Horror from Celluloid to Snuff. Really cool documentary on everyone's favorite horror films. Talking to fans. It's a little cheaply done, but with a lot of heart. And I really respect that. It was always a fun one to watch. Love that cover. Some more ghosties and America's Most Haunted Inns. This one was a lot of fun. Interesting to learn about some of these places. I don't know if I'd stay overnight there. I probably would. Then we go to Canada with Canada's Most Haunted Paranormal Encounters in the Great White North. I want to get this whole series. I only have the first one, but I love the artwork on here. Wow, that's awesome. Just some really creepy tales from Canada. I think there's 3 more volumes to this, which I want to get at some point. Yeah, this is a really cool series. We have another Night of Living Dead documentary, Autopsy of the Dead. This one's cool because it talks to a lot of the creators of the film outside of George Romero, you know, so you get to hear their story about it. Pretty badass. If you're a fan at all of the film, I'd recommend that one. I guess this is the most haunted house in America, one of them at least. I think Villisca, Iowa is probably, the Villisca axe murder house probably tops it, but this is the Sally house. I think it probably could have been better, the documentary, but it still is a fun watch. It's a pretty cheap documentary, but I have fun with it. It's cool learning about the Sally house and the legend of it. We watched that one, right? Yeah? Okay. Oh yeah, this is a cool Shudder original. Behind the Monsters, from Killers to Killer Icons. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's your favorite Halloween, Candyman, Friday the 13th, Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, the usual. Just really fun. I hope they make more of these. Behind the Monsters. We have another History Channel classic, Vampire Secrets. I always enjoyed this one. Very cool. And we get the second Eli Roth History of Horror Season 2. So much fun. Watch these. I just love binge watching all those. On Fan Flicks Files, we have the Hammer Films. Kind of like Heritage of Horror, but this one's pretty good too. I don't think it's as good as Heritage of Horror, but this one, it still is badass. You learn a lot. Always a fun watch. Anything Hammer horror. I was huge fans of Hammer horror, aren't we? Yeah. Another History Channel, Salem Witch Trials. Always fun to learn more about the Salem Witch Trials. Very tragic, dark period in our history. And we have Zach Bagans' Demon House. This is the guy from Ghost Adventures show. This one was actually pretty creepy, actually. I enjoyed this one. I would recommend that one. That would be a good Halloween watch. And we have the first Video Nasties, the Definitive Guide. Amazing. It's the one that started it all. Love hearing about all these great films that I love. I have most of these. Great. The Haunted History of Halloween. Yes, we gotta have this. This one's essential. Always an annual viewing. Love it.